Coming up tonight on Grady Newsource, we recap the national election results.
And we take a closer look into some of the tight local races around the area.
Coming up tonight, find out what people of Oconee County have to say about the passage of 2 alcohol ordinances.
Athens-Clarke County voted no for Amendment 1, keeping local control of Clarke County schools.
This is Northeast Georgia's only local source for TV news. From the Grady College at the University of Georgia, this is Grady Newsource.
Let us have faith in each other. Let us not grow weary. Let us not lose heart.
For there are more seasons to come and more work to do. That from Hillary Clinton in a painful and emotional concession speech today after her shocking loss to Donald Trump. I'm Dylan Richards.
And I'm Damacy Fowley. Early this morning, President-elect Trump saying, "It's time for America to bind the wounds of division." To all Republicans and Democrats and independents across this nation, I say it is time for us to come together as a united people.
The current president, Barack Obama, saying of his successor, "We are now all rooting for his success." Tonight, the end of a historic presidential race, but also, Damacy, historic races here in Northeast Georgia.
Yes, and on those, we have the numbers for you. These are the unofficial results from the Georgia Secretary of State.
Hillary Clinton won Clarke County with 67% of the vote. We'll have that graphic up for you in just 1 second. Jim Barksdale also won this county. There it is with 59% of the vote.
And in Jackson County, Trump got 80% of the vote. So did Johnny Isakson to keep his Senate seat.
In Madison County, same story. Trump and Isakson with 77% of the vote.
And in Oglethorpe County, Trump with 69.5%, Isakson with 70%.
In Oconee County, Trump took 67%, Isakson just slightly higher with 73%.
And in Barrow County, Trump took 73%, Isakson took 73.5%.
To the amendments now, the Governor Nathan Deal's Opportunity School District measure was shot down in every county statewide. The noes had over 60% of the vote.
And for the amendment that will approve the Judicial Qualifications Committee, it was approved with over 60% of the vote. Every county surrounding Clarke voted yes. Clarke County voted no. There's a new sheriff in town, and that is in the town in question in Comer, Crawford, Arnoldsville, or Danielsville, Georgia.
That's because the incumbents lost their races for sheriff in Madison and Oglethorpe counties. Daniel Jackson today spoke to the voters who decided that it's time for a change.
That's the note struck by many Oglethorpe County residents as Mike Smith for sheriff signs are still proudly displayed in many areas.
I knew his dad. We supported him. We were on his committee from day one.
Here in Oglethorpe County, the question is, how will it work when the name on this door changes?
Every newly elected sheriff must attend, and we actually start next week, and we'll have 4 weeks of training. We train them on the Office of Sheriff mandate.
Of course, there's a majority in Oglethorpe County that are happy about the change in sheriff, like Alfred Burgess or Cindy Brown, who we spoke to on the phone.
You know, in 23 years, the first man has come and knocked on our door to introduce himself, and I'm all for David. I'm ready for the changes for the county.
We tried to speak with Sheriff-elect in Oglethorpe County, David Gabriel, but he said he is unavailable until he completes his training. Daniel Jackson, Grady Newsource.
The outgoing sheriff of Oglethorpe County, Mike Smith, said he will do everything he can to ensure it is a steady transition.
Well, you've heard the old line, your vote matters, but one Oconee County race came down to just that.
And our reporter Molly Swindle says it all comes down to one, let me repeat that, one vote. Molly, explain.
True, the race is for the Watkinsville City Council Post 5. After all the precincts were counted, Mark Melvin and Dan Matthews were tied, each of them having 547 votes. This was before the absentee ballots were counted.
There's going to be a couple hundred absentee ballots that they're counting by hand in the room in the building right next to us.
After the absentee ballots were tallied, they were one vote apart. Matthews 569, Melvin 568. Matthews has been vocal about why your vote matters.
1,020 votes total, give or take a few. It literally comes down. Every vote does count. Every vote makes a huge difference.
The Oconee County Board of Elections says that there are 4 overseas ballots that they are waiting on, which means this race will remain very tight.
Military and temporary and permanently overseas residents ballots to come in before we can certify. And we do have 4 remaining for that city council post.
For those ballots to count, they must have been postmarked by November 8th. Hayes told me that they will have the certified results on Monday and that she has never in her 28 years seen a race this close. From the virtual election studio, Molly Swindle.
Late this afternoon, the other candidate, Mark Melvin, contacted us back.
You can see his response online on our website, GradyNewsSource.com. Well, now we'll take an even closer look around Northeast Georgia's polls.
Yes, Dylan, and a lot of local races in our area went unopposed. There were only a few local races that stuck out after getting the results late last night. In Jackson County, there was no surprise with the sheriff race. Republican Janice Mangum took the race with 86% of the vote against Democrat Randy Moore. This will begin Mangum's second term as sheriff.
In Oglethorpe County, the race for the county commission chair was neck and neck for most of the night, but incumbent Billy Pittard won the race with 55% of the vote against Democrat Dan Bruckbaker.
And in Madison County, Republican John Scarborough won by a landslide against Cedric Fortson from county commission chair. Scarborough won with 79% of the vote.
All 3 races were won by Republicans who were also the incumbents of those positions. Well, today the local school board members are thankful for the defeat of Amendment 1.
Yes, and their reasons for wanting to keep community control of Athens-Clarke County schools are historical.
Reporter Nyla Oliver spoke with 2 Athens-Clarke County school board members to find out why this victory means so much to them.
Dylan Damacy, you know, after speaking with these 2 local board members today, it was clear to see that remembering how the community came together in the past to better schools in this area is one of the main reasons that Amendment 1 was a no-go for them. It's voted no to put a stop to Amendment 1.
To add another layer of bureaucracy would just convolute education.
H.T. Edwards Teaching and Learning Center is an example of how local communities come together to provide resources to better their classrooms and schools at large.
The miracle of what's happening here is that this at one time was a predominantly black high school, and it has been completely renovated and restored.
The school is now centered on a strong educational focus and a reminder of its history.
When I think about failing schools, I think about the schools that she taught in.
Her mother, the principal of a one-room schoolhouse years ago.
There was just a little school for colored kids, and so she taught all of the grades in that one classroom. There's no such thing as a failing school, it's a failing system.
If Amendment 1 was passed, it would have removed local control of Athens-Clarke County schools, limiting community efforts such as the construction of this HT Center Learning Complex.
I was happy. I was relieved.
You know, you could just hear the sighs of relief in Linda and Ovita's voices, and they were just so thrilled to show why having hands-on local efforts in schools is important.
And Nyla, it's pretty clear from those school board members that this was a critical issue and one that they're very happy to have won. Before we go to break, though, we wanted to show you this historic day through the eyes of a young Republican.
We asked the fundraising chair for the UGA College Republicans how he felt when the race was called.
It was at 254. I don't quite recall what Hillary Clinton was at on the count, but it was a little bit of relief that, and also just satisfaction and a feeling of, you know, all the work we had put into this was worth it. It was finally worth it.
That's Ben Grayson. He told us he phone banked for Trump, and he said he worked very, very hard to help elect him.
We also asked him how he thinks he'll look back at tonight.
I think we can all look back at this, and it's going to be one of those flashbulb moments where you can say, I was here when this happened. I was with my friends watching this, or I was sitting at home. I know where I was when it happened.
And we do want to be clear with you. We asked UGA and Clark County Democrats to talk to us so we could do kind of a piece just like that one about them.
We contacted them by phone, text, email, and in person. They did not respond.
Back about half an hour ago, though, the Democrats in Barrow County got back to us and said, and sent us a statement.
And they said, quote, "My fear is Trump will make America great again. Great for people of color and poor whites is not the same as for the wealthy and the racist in our society."
And again, that quote is from Dwight Acey. He's the chairman of the Barrow County Democratic Party.
Residents of
Coming up, local reaction to Sunday alcohol sales.
People who live in Oconee County now don't have to travel very far if they want to buy alcohol on Sundays.
Two separate ordinances, one for alcohol by the glass and one for package sales of beer and wine, both gained a 68% yes vote from residents yesterday.
Reporter Alex McCready shows you some people who may benefit from the vote.
That's the refreshing sound some residents of Oconee County are hearing today. This comes after the county voted to allow alcoholic beverage sales on Sundays.
Come to sit at the bar and then end up leaving because they couldn't enjoy a glass of wine or a beer with their dinner.
But not anymore. That's why Chops and Hops manager Whitley McGeary wanted Oconee to adopt the Sunday sales.
I think it'll be great increasing our sales, getting more money for our servers, our staff.
Now, if you don't feel like going to a restaurant, you can always go to a retailer. That way you can enjoy an alcoholic beverage in the comfort of your own home. Austin Gels knows what happens when a county adopts Sunday sales. He used to work at a liquor store in Gwinnett County when the same thing happened there.
People would just delay buying their alcohol, come in on Sunday rather than on Saturday.
Oconee County Chairman Melvin Davis says one of the biggest reasons for putting this vote on the ballot was so revenue from alcohol sales would stay inside Oconee County.
Go to another location to purchase. That means that Oconee County loses sales tax.
The county won't lose sales tax anymore. Alex McCready's Grady Newsource.
Oconee now becomes the 38th county in Georgia to allow Sunday alcohol sales in both retail stores and restaurants.
Oconee and Clark counties have agreed to extend a special sales tax that benefits education. Commonly known as eSplost, the tax is often used by school systems for projects like building better schools and buses. Oconee County Schools Superintendent Jason Branch says that tax will allow for faster changes to the school system.
In order to do the kind of renovations and building that we would need to do, we would need to have that money on hand. With a SPLOST, we can go in with a SPLOST and bond that money.
Athens-Clarke County school representatives say that the eSplost in their county will go to funding a portion of the new Oglethorpe Avenue Elementary School, more technology infrastructure, and renovations to their 4 middle schools. The renewal of the tax will start in 2018 and continue until 2022.
I've got 2 things to tell you for the week. You're gonna need to grab a jacket and make sure you wear red on Friday for Veterans Day. I'm Jessie Young, and you're not gonna wanna miss the weather update.
And now, the weather.
Now everyone, with all of the election coverage, it has been a long night, but I have some good news for you. I'm Jessie Young with your weather. The good news is that fall is hitting full force with the cool mornings and nights. Now we're also going to see these dry air conditions continue throughout the week as there's no rain in the forecast. Also, for you veterans out there, I salute you, but it's going to be a windy one for you folks. Now, our evening tonight is going to start at 62, but it is going to drop significantly, and we'll look across the region that is pretty much the same for everywhere, except for Blairsville, which is 35, which is relatively low, and only 3 degrees above freezing. Now, tomorrow, we're going to start out pretty low with in the 50s, and then we're going to really see it rise to 70 degrees as the high, and we see that across the region as well, with everywhere in the high 60s and then low 70s. Now, as we head into the 5-day forecast, we'll see it starts out at 70 degrees throughout the whole week, but then we're going to really see a drop at 63 degrees for Saturday, where we're going to see our dogs play. So make sure you have a jacket for that game. And then the night temperatures for that are going to really steep down low into the 35s. We're going to see the same thing on Sunday, so it's going to prepare you for that Sunday as you head to church. Now, I told you about all of this dry air earlier, but there is no better way to show you than with this. This fire broke out today in Athens-Clarke County earlier today, and Peyton Turner, Chief Forest Ranger, said that they have been working to fight this for hours. They have been working to fight fires since 4:45 this morning. So they have been at it all day long, and they haven't stopped since.
A brush fire broke out earlier today, burning over an acre of land. Firefighters do not know what started the fire, but a combination of wind and dry conditions could have something to do with it. A bulldozer went through the land to break up the soil to stop the spread of the fire. But then, a tree fell on the power line, which stopped them in their tracks. The fire is now under control, but firefighters are still discussing ways to monitor the land.
We're in what they call the mop-up stage. Anything that's smoking, any hot spots, we have to do our best to get this afternoon. And hopefully these winds by nightfall, we're hoping will succeed.
We need to mention that there was a fire this morning in Barrow County where 10,000 wood pallets caught fire. These dry conditions are just making things worse. I'm reporter Jesse Young with your weather update.
Find out what fun tradition you do not want to miss at this weekend's game. I'm Jamie Hahn with your sports next.
And now, sports.
The clock hits fourth quarter at this weekend's game against Auburn. Make sure you put your fours up and this. You see the sea of lights? It lit up Sanford Stadium last season, and it'll happen again this Saturday.
You just take out your phone and just turn the flashlight on. And so the goal is to just light up Sanford and just have a whole sea of lights for the fourth quarter.
And although the players will be getting ready for another 15-minute battle between the hedges, 93,000 people lighting up the stadium is hard to miss.
I think it was awesome. Last year it was Georgia Southern when they did it, right? And it was a great experience seeing Sanford come alive like that.
The purpose behind is more than just what meets the eye.
Last year it was about starting something new and just like a new tradition for UGA. And this year we think it's just as important, especially with how the season's gone, and just sort of showing our team that even when like the season's really dark, we want to be that light for them and that we're there behind them no matter how the season's going.
And once again, this will be in the beginning of the fourth quarter when the Redcoat Band is playing Krypton in the student section. Whether you're a Pee Wee or a Division I SEC football player, tackling should be a fundamental thing, or at least it should be, but Georgia head coach Kirby Smart does not think his team is delivering.
So we work on it every week. I haven't been happy with it all year. I don't know if I'll ever be happy with it, because if we miss one, I'm not happy with it.
So how are the players making sure to make their head coach happy?
We just got to make sure we practice the right way, stud up the runners, stud our practice players, and then just carry it over into the game because it's easy to lose focus, especially late in the season.
The Georgia Bulldogs will test these tackling skills against the Auburn Tigers at 3:30 this Saturday at Sanford Stadium.
Veterans in Athens are preparing for Veterans Day this Friday, and some people in Athens are finding a way to give back.
Cameron Crosby went and talked with some of those veterans, and they say that life is pretty good for a veteran these days.
Athens group Quilts of Valor presented 3 quilts to former veterans today. The former soldiers say that life wasn't always so easy for a veteran, and that soldiers didn't always get the recognition they deserve.
It's Veterans Day at my house every day, and it should be in every American's house every day.
However, nowadays veterans are saying that they're treated with respect almost constantly. According to veteran Brian West, people come up on the street all the time and give veterans thanks for their actions.
I mean, everybody tells you thank you for your service. I mean, it's good to be a veteran.
West and another veteran, Jim Wood, both say that the local community stays very active with support for military men. Wood and West, among other veterans, try to give back by supporting their fellow soldiers whenever they can.
Being a veteran is just about continuing to serve.
In our local community, veterans say the support they get is always strong and always present.
Always strong and always proud. It's good to hear that those are getting taken care of by their community. Yes. Well, that's Grady Newsource for November 9th of 2016.
Our first broadcast back after the historic election of Donald J. Trump.
Last night, you might have been here, we covered the first hours of what turned out to be a nail-biter that wouldn't let up until 3 o'clock in the morning.
Yes, and we wanted to take this opportunity to just thank everyone who worked with us last night. We have Sarah Cooper and Celia Palermo who head our production department.
They do a tough job, but so did Grace Holland, who directed a marathon 2 hours of live breaking news coverage.
Yes, and we just want to thank all our volunteers, reporters, and producers who made all that coverage possible. So for now, we'll leave you with some behind-the-scenes pictures of last night's broadcast. So I'm Damacy Fowley.
And I'm Dylan Richards. Good night.
Grady Newsource officially had the largest election team in Northeast Georgia.
Grady Newsource is a student production of the Grady College of Journalism and Mass Communication at the University of Georgia, which is solely responsible for its contents. Views expressed do not represent those of the administration nor the Board of Regents at the University System of Georgia.